Being cold sucks. That's why in this video, I'm gonna be showing you how to fix the heat in your classic car or truck so that you don't end up like me. That's right, I was just acting. I'm an actor now. We're gonna start with the easy stuff, but we're gonna move into some more complicated steps, some of which will most likely improve your heat, even if you think it works pretty good. Now, the heating system in your classic car or truck is pretty darn simple. You have a heater core underneath your dash, and your engine coolant is circulating through that. A fan blows air across that heater core, and a ducting system pushes that hot air into your cabin. When your heat quits working correctly, you can narrow it down to either poor coolant flow or temperature, or little to no airflow. So we're gonna start off by just checking your coolant level. That's pretty important and it gets overlooked a lot, but if your coolant level is low, you can get air pockets in your system, and those air pockets generally will stop the coolant from flowing through your heater core. Top your coolant level off, and if you think you still might have an air bubble in your system, go ahead and park your car on an incline, let it run for a minute, and see if the coolant level drops. There are also other ways to bleed your coolant system, usually depending on the model of your vehicle, and to find those out, just do a quick Google search related to the vehicle you have. Also, drop a comment down below, let me know what vehicle you do have, because I'm always interested to hear what other people are working on. Now let's take a second to check out our thermostat. Now, the thermostat is what controls your engine's temperature and regulates it to a preset rating. Usually that's going to be anywhere between 180 and 200 degrees. Now, thermostats can be a real pain point for cooling and reliability, but usually they're not quite so bad when it comes to heat. That's because they rarely stick open, they stick closed, which causes the engine to run hot. But it's always a good idea to check the opening and closing temperatures to ensure that they're actually working. And let's take a quick look at how to do that. To start with, you could remove it from the thermostat housing, put it in a pot of water, heat it up on your stove or something. For example, this is a 180 degree thermostat. Once it got up to about 175, it's gonna slowly start to open. That's going to tell you what your temperature is and that your thermostat is functioning correctly. Now, that's the slightly more involved way to do it. There is an easier way. The first thing you're going to need is a temperature gun like this that will read temperatures for you. If you don't have one, you can check the link in the description below for this one right here. And any other tools you see in this video, check that link down below. So you want to crank your car up, get it up to operating temperature. You can see right now our temperature is about 49 degrees Fahrenheit. Radiator's the same. So you just want to keep watching this. I'll show you what to do. Now you can see we're hanging right around 195, jumping around a little bit. And our radiator is right there at 195 as well. Now that tells us that we have a 195 degree thermostat in this car, and it is working correctly. Now that you've checked your thermostat and you know it's working, you might be thinking about changing the thermostat opening and closing temperature, and it can be a slight heating upgrade to change that temperature to something hotter. Say, if your engine calls for a 180 degree thermostat like this Triumph TR6, and you go with something like a 195, you would see a slight heating improvement. I do want to say, if your heat is not working or is blowing lukewarm or cold air, this isn't going to help you. You have another problem somewhere else. Changing your thermostat temperature will rarely fix anything. It can help if you want your heat to be just a little bit warmer. Now we're getting into the good stuff. You need to check your heater valve. All of these systems are going to have a heater valve. That is how you control the temperature of your heat. Every system's going to have one of these. The way it's operated is going to be different every single time. A lot of them are cable, a lot of them are electronic, and some of them are even vacuum on the older stuff. To test your heater valve, you can either remove it completely, or you can test it with a heat gun by putting your heater controls to wide open and checking both sides of your valve. If both sides are very close to the same temperature, and that temperature is close to your engine operating temperature, you're probably good to go there, and you're going to move downstream and check your problem somewhere else. And if not, you want to pull that heater valve and you want to check the inside of it for debris. You want to make sure that however it operates smoothly on the bench. It's very common for them to get packed with a bunch of engine debris like rust and scale. And if you've got a bunch of rust and scale in your heater valve, this might be the time to go ahead and do a really thorough coolant system flush, because most likely it's just going to clog again. While we're messing around with the heater controls, you want to check your blend doors if you have any. That is what routes your air from your blower motor or from your outside vents into the cabin. And a lot of times if these don't open or they are jammed in a certain position, you might be getting mostly vent air and not the air that comes across your heater core. A really good way to test this is just let your car get up to temp and find the spot where your heater core is. Reach under there and feel around. If it's hot, everything else is fine. You've got an airflow problem. You're not getting the air across your heater core. Then you want to go through any blend doors that you may have. On this older stuff, it's usually just vent, heat, and defrost. You just want to go in and really make sure your vents are closed and your heat or defrost is working, depending on the position that you have it in. Again, these can be operated by electronics, vacuum, cables. It really is going to vary depending on the vehicle you have. You can go through a quick Google search and find everything you need to know about that. Lay your hands on that blower motor, see if it's getting hot, because if it is, it's very likely a power or ground issue. If you're suffering voltage drop to that motor, it's gonna get really hot, but it's not gonna move a lot of air. If it's making noise, that might be a problem. Even if the blower motor seems to be working fine, pull it out and see if there's any leaves or debris packed in this heater core area, because that will of course block the air that passes through there and greatly limit your heating performance. All right, next on our list is flushing your heater core. This is always a good idea if you haven't already done it, but don't worry, you don't have to take it out like this one. This is just an old one I've been using as an example. You could totally do it in the car. Now there is a pretty easy way to check and make sure that you actually need to do this. With your engine running and up to temperature, you want to come in here and you want to lay your hands on both of these hoses. They will be hot, so be careful. But what you're looking for is for them to be close to the same temperature. If there's a big difference, if one's a lot cooler than the other one, that's going to give you an idea that your heater core is probably plugged up with junk and debris. But even if this checks good, I recommend you always flush your heater core at least once, because even if it's just got a slight blockage, that is costing you efficiency and it's going to make your heat slightly less powerful. And it's pretty simple. You just remove these two hoses and you take a garden hose and maybe some radiator flusher solvents if you really want to be thorough. And you're just gonna run water through this heater core. You wanna watch it, you wanna make sure that it eventually comes out clean and clear. You wanna make sure that you're getting good flow through there as well. And you wanna take that garden hose and stick it in each hose kind of back and forth as you go, so that you're changing the direction that that water is flowing. Now they do make a tool for this, and this thing is a monster. It does such a good job and makes such short work of even like really clogged heater cores. It's a pretty simple tool. It's basically just a normal garden sprayer, and they've adapted this end on it. You can see your hoses going there, and you have a place to hook an air hose. And you can run air pressure through it and up that force to clean your heater core out. The maximum PSI for this is 100 PSI. I flush my heater cores at 60 PSI. This tool is relatively new to me, but I really do like it. It's kind of expensive, especially for something that, honestly, I mean, you see how simple it is. You could probably DIY this pretty darn easily. But I am going to leave this in the description, because if you're like me and you just don't have time to DIY something, this might be worth picking up. So if you've done all of this stuff and you still don't have heat, at that point, I would recommend that you start checking your vehicle specifically. Look at factory service manuals, maybe join some Facebook groups about your make and model of car. There's a lot of those out there, and they're really helpful, because all of this is very generic info, and it works most of the time, but sometimes there's that little vehicle specific thing that can just throw a wrench in the works, and you're gonna have to find that yourself. But all of this info that I gave you today, that is going to get you there 90% of the time. Hope this video was helpful. If it was, hit that thumbs up button, because it helps a lot. And consider sticking around for more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.